Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of A Bigger Bite. Once again, I am your host, Matt Thomas, joined by other bite-sized member, Amarú Moses. But today we got a nice guest panel because Amarú finally got Winston on board, as he's been asking us to do for weeks, and we got Shak back. And I'm not even kidding. Rue's been bugging me like, hey, when can we get Winston on? Talk to Winston. When can we get Winston?
It's my fault. Rue has been trying to text me to do some shit for a minute, and my black ass would be like, "Oh yeah, I got you, bro." And then the ADHD kick in, and then all of a sudden it's like, I swear I was supposed to text somebody back about something. I just don't remember what the hell it was. I'm very sorry.
That's all me, bro. Fam, it's not just you. I can't tell you how many times this man's like, let me call you back in an hour. And it's like 4 days later. I'm like, where's that call at, homie?
Well, the I'll talk to you later is just a black person staple of that means you're not going to hear from me.
You're not
calling him back.
Wait a minute.
To be fair, he and I will be having like deep conversations talking about important shit. And that's he's like, I'm for real going to call you back in like an hour.
Yo, and then secondly, I always give Winston a 3 to 3.5 week cushion whenever I hit him up. So it's all good. It's all good. And everybody watching, don't worry. We're going to get to Superman, but you got 4 black dudes geeking out about shit. You're going to get this black shit too before we start the discussion.
First, bro. That's that. Oh my God. But yeah, no, that's pretty much how that works, man. I'm trying, man. I'm like putting little systems in place. Now they let you do the send later thing on text. So I've been trying to, if I have a moment to just be like, all right, well, I finally got back. Because what'll happen sometimes is I'll remember, but then it's 1 a.m. and not everybody uses Do Not Disturb like they should. So I'm like, well, I can't send them a text back now. So now with that send later shit, I'll be sending it, and I'll even put in the message so they don't think, hey, it's 9 a.m. Oh, he's awake. He's talking. No. I'll put, hey, man, I wrote this at 1 a.m. Don't text me back right now. But, and then I'll put whatever the message is and then tell it to send later.
And keep in mind, he did tell me when we talked about this, he's like, hey, shoot me a text so I can leave that unopened and add it to my calendar once I get set.
I did. I said, look, do you use Google Calendar? If so, send me an invite. I will accept. If you don't, send me a text right now because I'm driving. And when I get there, I will open my text. I will add it to my calendar. And then there you go. Only thing I did this time is I unfortunately woke up at 9:05 and we started at 9. So,
it is what it is. I'll expect it. I'm just glad to have both y'all on there. And again, glad to have 4 Blerds on screen all at once.
Blerds talking about the whitest superhero.
Hey, listen, Blade is still not getting made, so we got to make do with whatever the fuck is coming out.
Hey. Ultimately, and we get to talk about it. We got it. I'm not going to say the word on here because I don't want to upset Nick, but we got it. We got it on this episode, in this movie, and he just shit. So, hey.
Well, okay. So I was going to say, we did get, you're not going to say Mr. Terrific?
That's not
the other word that we all can say and a lot of people.
Oh, you're talking about Negro.
Yes.
Yes.
As in the, never mind.
He does some terrific shit.
Yeah, there you go.
He does some. But no, we're here to talk
about like the Negro College Fund. That was the word I was looking for.
There you
go. Brain still rebooting.
But we're here to talk about Superman 2025, not Superman the movie, not Man of Steel, like Nick likes to talk about. Superman, the James Gunn film that just came out this weekend. I know as of you guys watching this, it is Saturday. That's when we're going live with this. Realistically, it's Friday and we talk about this. I've seen this movie 3 times already. I'm probably the only person who's seen it multiple times, unless Shak has.
No, not yet.
But that's because like I had the critic screening, then I had the Amazon Prime screenings, and then I went to Thursday night opening night, which I got pinned for, and I forgot to put that on. But oh well. Either way, this film is, in my opinion, a great comic book movie. I started off when I first saw it just because, for people who don't know, at least 2 of these people on the panel can attest, this was my most anticipated movie for this year. That first screening, the anxiety and the nerves were like there with me because I'm like, oh shit, how's this going to turn out? Like I wasn't finding myself sitting there watching this movie. I was watching it as a critic and but also like trying to hold back the fan in me and what I was getting excited about what I was getting. So like that first viewing, I was like, maybe it's like a 3.5, maybe a 4. And then you separate yourself from it a little bit, like, all right. And you think more about what you like, what worked. And then the second viewing solidified it for me. It's not as good as The Batman, which I have maintained, and Winston makes fun of me for it. The Batman is my favorite film of all time.
Word.
Winston, you know this. We've talked about it.
I thought it was your favorite superhero movie of all time.
It's
It's your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite film of all time.
Hey, I'm not mad at it, honestly.
Yeah. Winston.
He's mad at it.
But part of the reason I love The Batman so much is the reverence it shows to the character and also just the world that it creates within it. Superman does a lot of the same shit. That's part of why I loved it so much. On top of the fact I saw a lot of what was filmed last year when it was filming here in Cleveland. But
so you're a homer. This is just Donovan Mitchell out here cooking, bro. Donovan Mitchell cooking.
Where was this character created, Winston?
In the minds of 2 Jewish immigrants who really wanted to share their story.
Who lived where?
In America?
Cleveland, Ohio, nigga.
I
thought you
could.
And
he let it slip. It took
there it is.
Took 2 seconds.
I was saying
2 seconds.
For at least he got a good movie filming in Cleveland. Because listen, I'm in Toronto. We got the Suicide Squad, the first one, filmed over here.
Well, see, so, I want to see that director's cut. I'm not one of those Snyder cut boys, but I want to see the director's cut because I heard it was better.
I almost don't want to see it because I think David Ayer kind of sucks. But like,
fair.
With how that first Comic-Con trailer is and how completely separate it is from the rest of like the movie that we got, I'm willing to hear him out on it. Also, I had the same feeling of anxiety for my screening, but not just because of the anticipation or whatever. But I don't know about you, but before us, they play a lot of Warner Brothers IMAX trailers. They played the Weapons trailer right before this. There's children in the crowd.
Weapons is a horror film.
Exactly.
Also,
but because it's playing in IMAX, I was like, what are you doing?
They don't play trailers for us out here. We just go right into the movie.
I know you a young blood, but like, you a YN out here, but bro, you had Scott Pilgrim filmed there in Toronto.
Oh, no, we have a lot of movies filmed over here.
You had Mean Girls film in Toronto.
The Boys films over here. Half of the locations they go to, I'm like, I know where that is. I've been there.
I don't feel bad for you. Let this Cleveland YN have his moment.
We had Avengers film here. And Captain America Civil War. We have good movies filmed here.
Mm-hmm. We have good and bad, but yeah. Anyway, regardless, they played the Weapons trailer beforehand, and I was like, "This is making me even more anxious." But thankfully, the movie, when it came down to it, I had a blast. I'm not even a big Superman guy like that. Like, I enjoy Man of Steel and I enjoy the Christopher Reeve films, but they were never like as essential to me as like say Spider-Man or Batman or whatever. But when it comes down to the movie itself, it nails everything of what Superman you want him to be. Mm-hmm. In terms of just the optimism, the brightness, and even him being so superpowered to death, but caring about every living creature, not just human, every living creature. This man saves a fucking squirrel. He doesn't need to, but he does, and it's amazing.
Yeah, so for me, I just feel like this movie is weird as shit. Like, takes on James Gunn's freaky sensibilities and throws it in your face. And for me, it makes it the most interesting iteration of Superman I have seen, period. And I really enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed this film. I'm just like you. Superman has always been like, dude is overpowered. Dude's not that interesting. Like, what are you going to do to make me care? Like, I cared the most in Justice League because you got everybody else. On top of that, I'm a Marvel dude over a DC dude. I just like Marvel characters a lot more than I like DC characters.
That too.
But this one was flawed. It has flaws, clearly has them. But the atmosphere and the vibe and just the outright weirdness being used for this straight-laced, the truth, whatever, and not
better tomorrow.
Thank you, and thank you for saying that one anyway. And all that with all the weirdness that James Gunn loves to put in there, it actually made me care about the stakes because physically, I knew nothing was going to happen. But like the twist they do with his family and what he's here for, I really enjoyed that take on it. The action and again the weirdness in the action of just you having crap go down his throat and just the way they utilize everybody around to just be like, what the hell am I watching? It's interesting as whatever it is, and I'm very, very much enjoying it. So I also had a blast as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a very famous meme from Batman v Superman of me telling Cavill to his face. First, he tells me, because I'm wearing a Batman shirt, he goes, "Oh, it must be laundry day," and then that whole interaction. But me telling him to his face, I don't traditionally like Superman. He goes, "Okay," like he was like ready. He's like, "All right, man, let's go." And my whole spiel was, but I had a friend who got me into Superman by not figuring out how hard he can punch, because Superman already has everything. Good looking dude, all the powers. Nobody can typically outmatch him, right? But it's not about how hard Superman can punch. It's not about what Superman can do. It's about what Superman should do. And to that point, that is at the core of what is at this movie. And to me, while Man of Steel is a good film, sure, the reason why I liked Cavill, I didn't have a problem with what he was doing, but I had a problem with Zack Snyder and how he was writing and directing the character, was because he really was like, there was the occasion, like I guess the neck snapping of Zod is a what should Superman do? And in that case, that did not feel like the right answer. Like, that's why people got so upset about it. People were like, you just don't understand. He did everything he could. And I was like, yeah, but the difference here is, even in a moment where in this particular movie, correct me if I'm wrong, he beat the ever-loving shit out of a lot of people, but he doesn't take life. And it doesn't mean that that's a scenario. That doesn't mean that there isn't a scenario where that might need to happen once. So, like, not to dive into Ironheart, I got real mad at all these people being like, oh, no, she's just out here killing. Iron Man kills, bro. But at the same time, if you remember, there's a difference when Bruce does it in Batman Begins. I know I'm talking about every movie but Superman right now. In Batman Begins, when he says to Rage, I don't have to, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. There's the same thing. There will be a time where Superman, that happens, but that is completely different than I am punching you to death. Like, the exception to that rule is Doomsday, and that is because Doomsday is a mindless beast that will literally murder everything he loves. And I would argue the same thing is true about Darkseid. At some point, Darkseid will push him enough, because he knows he can't reason with him, that he will do that. Give me more of this right here, the Justice League animated series, Superman the animated series, Justice League Unlimited Superman, which is what we're getting. And you are pushing his morals to the limit. And then we can see who, because that is why he is interesting. Because he is all powerful, because he's essentially a god, he is interesting because when the whole world hates you, when you have been framed in a way of being some sort of conqueror or demon, that what do you do? And he found his parents, he talked to Lois, he talked to the people in his life that were important, and kept his moral compass, and realized that the message that I took away from my parents, from what I thought it was more important than the message that they sent of go conquer Earth. You know what I'm saying? So I rocked with this movie because James Gunn intrinsically, in my opinion, understands the character, and that was enough for me to jack in.
No,
and I think
110%.
I think the way that he infuses what's going on today, and a lot of people are going to be mad about how they use what's going on today. He definitely walks a line, because there is a point where that can become cheesy. And I'll say this, I think, which is really weird, because everybody's heard the thing where James Gunn is like, I am not greenlighting anything until the script is absolutely right. I liked everything about this movie. There's nothing I didn't like. But I'm going to say that the script and the writing is probably the weakest part of the whole movie. And because there's a fine line of the script and the writing. Straight up is the weakest part, even though I still like the script. Something's got to be at the bottom. There's a very fine line between when you really like put a mirror up to what's going on now, especially in the clickbait, click rage, whatever monkeys that are in this movie, outraged monkeys. there's a fine line between putting a mirror up to people and then getting too way too cheesy about it. And there are a couple of times where like, okay, that stepped over the cheese, but then he brought it back. I like the line that he set. And one thing that I'll say I would say hopefully next time will be a little bit better is that he won't overstuff everything. Like put so much stuff into the script and the structure of it that it's hitting this here, then this here, then this here. He'll kind of stretch it out and let's focus on a little bit focus on less things to make it hit more emotionally. But even then, I like this as a start. I like this as this makes him human. This makes the people around you human. This is what is actually happening, and then infusing it with actual topical information of today. Again, it's what makes it most interesting because you said it. It's not about who can beat him. It's about what should he do and what is going to make him feel morally incompatible with what he thought he believed.
Damn, Rue.
Yeah. No, he's spot on, man. I mean, addressing kind of the too much in there. I was talking to somebody about that, and I agree. There are too many characters that we don't get to spend a lot of time with. Like we know nothing about Hawk Girl. You like if we were to go through the list of people that we got to learn something about. We got to learn something about Lex. We got to learn something about Mr. Terrific. We got to learn something about Lois. Little bit about Jimmy. And that the option that
we got more on Metamorpho than we did freaking Hot Girl.
Right. Who came in later, but then we learned nothing about Perry. We learned nothing about anybody.
That's the one part. Yeah. How do you hire Wendell Pierce?
Listen, I have heard from people who saw an earlier cut of the film that they gave Wendell a shit and cut it. And I was like,
I'm sure because there's a point at which you have to kind of do it. I mean, it's funny. I was talking to somebody who was saying normally people are sick and tired of these 3-hour movies. This would have been an exception where if you're going to put this much in there, it would have helped. But all that being said, because you're aiming true 4-quadrant, and which means you're trying to get old people and kids, you can't do a 3-hour movie, if we're being honest. Not an origin movie. Maybe down the line, but not an origin movie. That being said, I think what the focus was, and I understand, unfortunately, Superman has a lot of people in his life. The focus is, again, if you are going to test his humanity, you need to show the humans in his life that make him want to stay. And I think ultimately that's why you even had I can't remember what the gentleman was selling. I think it was falafel, but the gentleman that gets killed, it was falafel. When he gets killed, when Superman is being held captive, that is the tap into of, oh my God, this is what happens when I'm not strong enough for whatever. And that is supposed to be the main test for him of like, I got to do it. But you're showing all these people and the colorful tapestry that make up his life specifically to show that he has ties. If it's just Ma and Pa, Ken and Lois, that yes, they're important, but that's like a couple people. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe he only cares about them and he doesn't care about everybody. It's completely different when you see how he interacts with Jimmy, how he interacts with the Justice Gang, how he interacts with the citizens of Metropolis, how he interacts with the kaiju. Like that's
coworkers.
You need that. And so that's the only part that's a little frustrating is that you need that if you're going to tell this story. And I understand not wanting to do the same origin over and over again. How many times have we said we're tired of seeing Batman's parents getting killed in alley? Like
or Uncle Ben dying.
It's one of those things where I get it. I was talking with a friend about it afterwards because he was like a lot more mixed about it than me. But I get that we're all tired of seeing the origins. But I feel like there's a way that we could like show the origin without showing the same, like dedicating so much time to it.
Sure.
Like, because we kind of need to ground it.
You mean like how Superman Returns did it, where you kind of quick flashbacks, not super long?
Yeah, exactly. I would kind of get a basis. I look at like, sorry, just to finish my thought before I forget. But like the Spider-Man, like the Tom Holland trilogy, as much as I enjoy those movies, not getting the Uncle Ben moment kind of like it hurts. And even to the point where like when Marissa Tomei, when she's the one doing the great power, great responsibilities, like we could have done this before and not have to kill her off. Like it feels that was like the weakest point of the movie to me for like that movie. So I think maybe in the future movies we could show a moment where he like get a brief flash of like when he's like, okay, I'm trying to. This is where I become him. Like almost like an anime thing. Like have it like a brief like 30-second thing.
I get what you're saying, but there's something also cheesy about flashbacks. Like it's one, I think you can do the flashback. I know this is also kind of cheesy because they did it in the vein of like almost a Saturday morning cartoon at times, but it's one of those situations where I think what you could have done, again, I loved Metamorpho, cut Metamorpho. Why you don't need all kryptonite on the earth to be gone. Like that, there's plenty of times where or you can use synthetic kryptonite. You didn't have to introduce Metamorpho. That's one character out, and you can still figure something because let me ask you, what specifically, other than clearly setting Metamorpho up for the later appearances, did he actually provide to the story? It was a plot device to say I can form kryptonite. You didn't need the character. So like I'm not trying to cut NoHo Hank. But I
love that actor, but yeah, I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that you could have like cut enough where you still could have had that in that other dimension, and you could have had a situation where like, maybe you caught Superman and you're like he mentioned, oh, I'll get Clark. I couldn't find Clark. I found Perry, and then maybe Perry is trapped in the other universe, and we can get more out of Perry or something. You know what I'm saying? Like any number of ways you could have tweak that, which would have pulled stuff out and kept stuff in. You know what I mean? Like you don't even necessarily need to do the full Justice Gang. I enjoyed having them, but you could have been like, maybe it's just Guy with his asshole ass. You know what I mean? And that's the whole scenario. Maybe Guy is starting to recruit people because Maxwell Lord is trying to put this Justice Gang thing together. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm Atlanta, but he's gonna pay me. And so then maybe he goes and gets Terrific. We still keep the stuff with Terrific or whatever. But like you put things in there that weren't necessary, and you still could have told this story. So that's the only thing. I enjoyed seeing all the characters as a comic book fan, absolutely. But as someone just trying to look at a solo movie on its own, I know that's going to be a little bit of an issue for somebody that does not know DC lore, the way a standard comic book fan would.
At the very least, I did like the opening frame, how they essentially shaped the universe in like the first minute in that framing device of like 300 years ago. That's when they started seeing metahumans. 30 decades ago, like that's when fucking this happened and this happened. I like that framing of like, yeah, 3 minutes ago, this is when he lost his first fight. I was actually surprised that like they opened with that scene that we've seen in all the trailers.
I wasn't shocked by that because I've heard rumors that was the beginning of the film for a while. But Gunn has spoken on that crawl. He said that crawl got added within the last month.
Oh,
that's one of the last things that got added because in all the test screenings that they did with people like, we like it, but we don't understand why we're just supposed to just go with these other characters and accept that these heroes are already here. Mm-hmm. And that crawl helped them understand that, hey, metahumans and heroes have already been around. These are just some other examples. So because you're being told up front, hey, heroes and metahumans are around, it's easier for a general audience member also to just accept that, hey, I'm going to see other heroes in this that aren't Superman. And
the only thing that I would say, I wouldn't have necessarily started with Superman getting his ass whooped by the Hammer. I think the way to go would have been
Winston. This is a spoiler review, so you can just say who the Hammer was.
Well, the Ultraman, that's fine. But I would have started with Superman and the Justice Gang against the Kaiju, because if the point is Superman is, guys, you're doing this wrong. And this was a prediction I had about the movie a while ago when we were like, well, what do we think it's going to be about? I was like, well, if you're introducing some version of like, not the Justice League, but like the Justice Society of America or whatever, and obviously when
Justice. By the way, their art is in the Justice Gang's Hall of Justice.
Right. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna do that, but it's being done overseen by Maxwell Lord, so clearly there is a corporate overhang as to how they do stuff. Showing what these metas look like, doing this wrong, and him trying to be like, guys, there is a better way, which he does, but we do that more towards the end of Act 1, the beginning of Act 2 versus how you start. It's just a weird place to go because there would be something more interesting about watching people's response to superheroes. Not trying to emulate the boys, but that's kind of the thing that's interesting about it, is this weird corporate game of how this is working. And you look at Homelander and all that, and they paint them to be this like thing, but there's nefarious stuff going on behind the scenes. What would it be like if they're like, Lex's distrust of metas makes the bots easier to go because Guy doesn't give a shit and blows up half a city block, so people are mad. Like that would be, to me, a little bit of an easier connect to see Superman stands for something different. But that's just my 2 cents. I
like to that, like, again, fully not disputing anything. And the thing I was saying with the framing device also is that that is a very comic book ass thing to do if you just pick up like a random issue and it just gives you this wall of text saying, hey, this is what happened in the previous issue, so we're just jumping you in right now. So I did think, I agree with what you're saying, like showing the Superman and then dealing with the Justice Gang. If we had moved that forward, that would be a good way to intro. But I think starting off with him in a vulnerable state, because if you think about like how we've seen Superman as a character, again, we always know him as indestructible, unbeatable, whatever. So to see him immediately in that vulnerable state, you're like, oh, okay, what happened? How did it get to this point? Let's build off this. And also, I will say, I don't know how y'all feel about this. Crypto's a dickhead.
Everyone feels that way.
Crypto is a dog.
He's a dickhead.
He's a dog. He's not a very well-trained dog, and we see why at the end of the movie. But like,
he's adorable, but again, I'm sitting there like, bro, you beat the dog shit out this man who's already beaten.
That was one
screaming in pain, like
That was one thing that I really, really loved. One, I've heard people say like they lean on Crypto too much. You can never lean on a dog too much. Dogs in a movie, you get them in there. But there was a lot about this film. So y'all are throwing out a whole bunch of stuff. And what I ultimately like about it, even though a lot of the stuff is like surface level, it's starting to have it's creating these conversations that makes the story of Superman so interesting. You could have done this, you could have done that, but everything that we got was still really likable and really fun. Like yesterday, I was talking to somebody like, yes, Metamorpho was the one. While I liked him, that's the one character we could have took out, and the story really wouldn't have changed. But I like his incorporation to it. But having Crypto end up being a Supergirl's dog was like, oh shit, that makes so much sense. That makes me more excited for what's coming next. But Crypto's inclusion in the whole film brought another layer to Superman, to his like, how does he deal with a dickhead ass dog, but you still love the shit out of him.
Well, you're dog sitting. It's literally the idea that you're like your family says, "Hey, I need you to watch my dog."
And Winston's familiar with this recently.
Yeah, exactly. I need you to watch my dog. Okay, I can do that. For how long? I'll just be gone like a couple weeks. It's fine. I bet. And then this dog don't listen to a motherfucking command. Not a single one, bro. Sit, nigga, fuck you. Just like,
So as much as like, because we can go on all day about the script and where it could have gone. Again, I really like the conversation that's coming out with it. But James Gunn, where he completely delivered for me, aside from like not giving Perry as much time, but with the characters that got time, he delivered on the characters 100%.
Nailed their
top to bottom casting. Incredible.
Listen,
I do want to ask. One, let's talk about Mr. Terrific and why he's the MVP of all things.
Before I got a question for you before we dive into that, because this is a little bit more silly. Yeah. How do you feel about Jimmy Olsen being the CEO of Sex going?
Bro, that man got bad bitches on deck.
Wait, a CEO of what? Excuse me.
It's a meme. It's like.
It's become a meme that he's been nicknamed the CEO of Sex.
That's hilarious.
It was a thing with fucking Ned from the Spider-Man trilogy. And they were like photoshopping him. It's calling him the CEO of Sex, and now Matt's trying to do the thing.
He's essentially Ned Flanders, because that's the whole thing with Ned. He's over here, oh god, hidely neighbor, and then all of a sudden, Jack the shit got bitches. Like it's just
fucking. All my wrestling people will understand this. This man is Dominic Mysterio. He just keeps getting bad bitches on his lap out of nowhere.
Dude, I absolutely. Toes? Bro, he's calling her mutant toes. That's messed up, bro.
I absolutely love that flip.
Apparently,
I absolutely love that flip with Jimmy. My big question, though, because this is the most divisive person, is Lex. I don't know Lex Luthor. I don't know Lex Luthor like that. I have a singular vision of him, and this is one that's a little different, where he's not cool, calm, collected. He is. He's a
hater number one.
He's a quote unquote weaker version of him behind keyboard, and I thought it fit. What I'm saying is that's what he seems like, and I thought it fit with this tone. My question is, one, I want to hear your thoughts about Lex, and then I just wanted to put all the praise on Edi Gathegi, because
Edi Gathegi.
Oh, Edi Gathegi, thank you. He killed that shit. So those are the two I've been wondering about and wanted to get y'all.
Real quick. That Lex was fucking pitch perfect. It took the two,
I think so.
arguably the two greatest Lex Luthor performances, and Hoult married them in the most brilliant.
Who are you calling the two?
Hackman and Rosenbaum.
You know, I've never watched Smallville, so I can't speak to Rosenbaum. But because for me, it would have
Rosenbaum and Welling is why you watched Smallville.
No, I understand. But if I was gonna marry the two, I would be marrying like the animated series / Justice League.
Yeah, Clancy Brown.
To
Hackman.
So the only reason I wouldn't go there is because Clancy Brown's Lex Luthor was a smooth motherfucker.
And at what points?
So Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor was I'm a rich asshole who gets what I want, and I will go behind people's backs or backstab them directly to their face to get it, which I got numerous times here with Hoult. And then you got the whole land baron type shit who just hates the fact that somebody is getting in the headlines more than him, Hackman's side of things. That's why as perfect fucking blend.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. The Clancy Brown one, it sounds like Rosenbaum and Brown had very similar takes. Like, to be honest with you, because
I'm gonna have to send you a best of Rosenbaum video.
That's fine. But I'm saying, like, the more that I think about it, like I am thinking about the same Lex that was freaking out all the time about trying to beat him, and like then realizes Brainiac is in him at the so why was he freaking out? And then the same time where, oh my God, Darkseid is going to murder me. But then I figured out the anti-life equation. So smooth again. Nicholas Hoult did that plenty of times. He did that plenty of times where where's the dog? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What an annoying little shit.
That was the Rosenbaum thing. That was one of those.
That's a Clancy Brown thing too. So like for me, since I haven't seen Rosenbaum, I think that it sounds like those interpretations are the same.
So essentially all
they're very similar. They're very similar.
Basically. For me, I think Nicholas Hoult is one of the most underrated actors that everybody says is absolutely amazing and then doesn't get his due as much as he should. I again, for the tone, for today's outlook on everybody, I think he perfectly hit what a Lex Luthor in this world would be. And I loved his mixture of the spoiled brat with the genius. I wanted a little bit more smooth. Just a tad bit more, just because I like the version of Lex who I thought might be black, slightly a little bit, might be a Mary from Sinners, kind of one drop blood. But I very much enjoyed where they landed with him in terms of where he fit into. You're fully leaning into, or a good amount leaning into, the brat who's going to be mad and pissed off when he doesn't get what he wants.
I mean, look, I'll give you the smooth. Let me tell you some words. You had the first time he fought Ultraman, and you're given the chess moves. That the smooth as it gets. He's like
A7, B3,
A7, Z29, Y35. That's right, bitch. Like that's about as smooth as it is, but it's also World Star. Like there's that, right?
I didn't view that as smooth. I just viewed that as showing off his brain and his tactical.
But that's the thing. He was in his element. Smooth is you being in your element. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same thing. Watching Steph Curry be like, it's being smooth. You know what I mean? It's just being smooth with the basketball. In this case, this is him showing half-court shots. So you had that. You had him with I don't know what dog you're talking about. Even the murder of the falafel friend was still in the maniacal level of like, where are you from, bro? I can't. Oh, okay. What's that?
I know that was going to be that quick.
Where you going? Oh, shit. All right, well, I guess I'll go get that.
I will bring another motherfucking 5 minutes.
Well, you got a bunch of friends. You love everybody, so let me go get that Clark Kent dude. I'm going to shoot him in the face next. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was always, even when the engineer was like, I can't get in, bitch, don't worry about that shit. Like he had plenty of moments where maybe he didn't have to turn around and, you know, but he was so in control. That is the smooth part to me, is seeing him never get. The only time he truly got flustered was when it all started to unravel at the end. There were a couple little snaps, and that's what you get to see in the Madman of Lex. But because this is being taken from All-Star Superman, a lot of it, or like the tone at least, like the tone at least, that's the same Lex you get in that book as well, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to prison. I don't care. I can escape when I want, bro. That's exactly your formula, bro. I'm not worried about your bitch ass.
Like, that's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought when they put him in the van and said, take him to Belle Reve. I was like, he's going to be out in like 2-3 days. But me not being the DC person, I wanted to hear these points of views in terms of Lex is not a character I know very well. So I wanted to know what kind of representation of what Lex this would be. And I'll say this, as soon as Mr. Terrific's action scene ended, I was like, can y'all pause that and just run that back right now?
Well, you know what that was,
James
right?
Gunn moment of this, that was the most James Gunn moment of the film.
Well, you know what that was, and I clocked it immediately. He did an homage to himself with Yondu in Guardians 2. Mm-hmm. That is 1,000% Yondu getting his Yaka arrow back and obliterating all the Ravengers that betrayed him. It's Mr. Terrific being like, stay here. Because like it was kind of because I know Rocket helped a little bit, but if I remember correctly, it was pretty much just Yondu and Groot and him just being like, damn. And so same thing with Lois being like, how are we gonna it's fine. Just like the fact that he's just walking down the beach like, sir, you have to get out of here. I was like, I wish more Black people could just I'm busy. Get out my face.
Like I was just so enamored with that man. So enamored with every choice he had on that.
How it's like, I'll just grab this real quick. Little capybara dancing type shit, throwing T-spheres around. I was like, I'm vibing. Let's fucking
listen, that man got his justice for fucking X-Men First Class.
Oh, without a doubt.
Bullshit ass death in the history of superhero movies. He finally
got a character who can't die.
Go kill him.
Dude. I say this for anybody that's watching that's not a comic book geek. He was done so dirty in First Class. How dirty was it? It's literally during the World War Hulk saga when Hulk is like just beating the shit out of every World Breaker Hulk. He is slapping around with Doctor Strange. He's slapping around like the Sentry. That's a draw, but it doesn't matter. The point is he's beating the shit out of everybody. Darwin's like, all right, I got this. As soon as he rolls up, what do his powers do? Who always evolve? Teleport this nigga to the other side of the planet. The power said, we're not beating this. Yeah. And he teleported to the other side of the planet. He goes, it's like, so you killed him? He would not die.
My dad walked out the movie, and the first thing he told me, he's like, that was the most racist movie I've ever seen. He's like, all the Black characters either got turned evil or died, and I was like, I can't even dispute that.
Wait, what Black character turned evil?
What's her name? Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, Angel. I forgot she. I forgot because she was dressed like that, pixie like that. I didn't even think about it. I just in my mind I was like, nah, she just a mutant. But you're right, she also Black. That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. But the casting top to bottom is fucking incredible.
That's not the case at all. How dare you? Do you know how much I was defending her Blackness in the Batman? I just meant in that movie.
It was a joke. Chill.
Yeah.
I will fight you.
But I'll say this: we haven't talked about the man of the hour himself, David Corenswet.
I was about to say, well, before we get to him,
yes,
I gotta go to Brosnahan because he's the title character.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get to Lois.
It was so nice getting Pitbull journalist Lois Lane.
Yeah,
that is what I've been. And people argue, oh, well, we got that with Amy Adams. I'm like, no, the fuck we did.
Not the way that she does it. It's for the man that she's dating. She's like, listen, I'm telling you right now. If I'm interviewing you in like my mode, I'm going to dog you the fuck out. And
I'm asking you the same questions now as if I didn't know you.
And first up, like side note, I do love how there's a notable ship between Corenswet as Clark and Superman. And in those moments, she's like, listen, I'm not holding back. I know you have superpowers, but I'm gonna still ask you, what the fuck were you thinking intervening in this government issue? And so on and so on. And yeah, she's incredible in this.
It was that moment in that second trailer that got me hyped for this film.
Mhm.
Once I saw them go at each other, that's what I wanted to see, and I think they delivered in spades on their dynamic. And especially because Brosnahan became the Lois Lane that I saw Margot Kidder's. I saw Margot Kidder in there. I saw a little bit of Amy Adams, like warmth inside the pit bull. So I liked how Brosnahan kind of made that her own, but went more towards the pit bull version of it. So
yeah, I mean, again that to me leans back to animated series Lois, and that is what to me
quintessential Lois.
Well, like, because she's one of the few like romantic figures in comics that we think about all the time. She's also one of the few that stands on her own too. She doesn't need superpowers to save the day, because the truth is, even if Superman had beaten Lex's big grandmaster plan, his image was ruined, and he was not going to be able to figure that out, because Clark is a good journalist. He ain't Lois. Like if Clark is Batman of journalism, which I love me some Batman, Superman of journalism is 1,000% Lois. She does not lose. She will bust through your ass like left and right. And so to that point, you were making her a character that, yes, she loves her man, but you made her so strong on her own. Because I look at Amy Adams's rendition of it, and this is not knocking her, but it's to the writing of Lois, and that to me is why I keep saying I don't think Zack Snyder truly understood the characters, or he really just wanted to do something on his own. Lois was out here just trying to get kryptonite spears to try and help and almost drown and shit. I'm not. Occasionally, Lois needs to do some shit like that. That's not what I'm looking to her for. And I'm also not just looking to her
first couple films,
right? And I'm also just not looking to her get in the bathtub with Clark. Part of why Lois loves her so much is he's like, damn, she's as strong as I am. Like, I could vaporize her right now. He would never. He's like, I could vaporize her if I want, but I can't. Like, it's the same reason Vegeta loves Bulma, if we're being real, because she is the master of her field and she don't put up with his shit like that. And so she stands on her own too. That is what I think was so well done with the writing of this character and Rachel bringing it to life. And again, it's not knocking Amy's acting from the previous iteration. It's just, I don't think the writing was right on the character previously.
They didn't give her anything to really work with at all in those other movies.
She was an auxiliary piece. She was just the only reason that Clark wasn't going crazy.
Yeah.
But 100%. Yeah, I was gonna say definitely on Lois, love the dynamic, but David Corenswet did the damn thing. That man was wholesome and flawed and powerful, and it just embodied the G. Willikers good guy and believing every single word that came out of his mouth.
I'm not gonna lie.
I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I'm not gonna lie. The first viewing, that shit bugged me. Every viewing since, I'm like, nope, that feels perfect. Like, I like when he saw Crypto destroyed the fortress, like, God dang it, dude. And I'm just like, I'm like, that feels weird. And then I go back and watch some Batman, or I go back and watch some animated stuff, and I'm like, no, that feels right. Never mind, that feels perfect.
That's the good old Kansas boy right there. Like, I remember watching it, and I was enjoying it like through the whole way through. But that last speech to Luther, when he's like, "I'm human, I make mistakes. Like, I'm trying to make mistakes, but like, no matter what, I'm still
get
trying
up in the morning every day."
Was literally the exact moment. Like, he's got it. He nailed it. I saw, like, it was like witnessing a star being born before my eyes. It was fucking top tier.
Which I don't know if you saw this. The contracts came out. He and Brosnahan each made less than $1 million on this film, and Hoult made $2 million. That shit's probably gonna change.
That
checks out. No, I agree. Checks out. I'm just saying the performances they gave, that shit's probably gonna change the next year. That's what I was getting.
No, I feel you. It feels very a la Robert Downey Jr. Look, man, we just gonna give you a shot. And then Terrence Howard at the time was coming off of Hustle and Flow and all that. The only thing that was wild was him trying to be like, "Hey man, but now I'm gonna need like $10 million, man." No, you're not. You did a good job, but you were not the star of the movie.
No. Pause. That's not what happened. They went to him for a pay cut. They said, "We need you to take a pay cut so we can pay Robert more." And he's like,
"Hey man, it don't matter, man.
Man. You know what my rate is, man. You're not gonna change that, man."
Like, hey, you as an actor, if you had already agreed to a multi-picture deal for you and said, "Hey, we want to cut your rate," how would you react?
I mean, if we had signed a 2-picture deal, are you sure they signed a 2-picture deal and it wasn't?
It was a multi-picture deal. It wasn't 2-picture. It was multi-picture. So it was supposed to include.
Then no, I would be pretty pissed off. I wouldn't be okay with that.
And that's the point.
But it's funny because I mean we know, like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, studios are your friend." I mean, look what they just did to Jeremy Renner. It was very clear they did not want to do Hawkeye season 2, so they offered him half his rate, and he was like, "Bitch, am I half a Hawkeye because I got hit by a tractor? Fuck you! Like, you pay me my money, or we're not doing this." Mm-hmm. So I don't blame Terrence for walking away from it.
He didn't get walked away; they fired his ass.
I thought that they essentially were like, "Well, this is what we're offering, and take it or leave it."
Nah, they let him go.
Oh, well.
What did you think about David in this role, man?
I thought he was fantastic. I think he is the best Superman we have seen since Christopher Reeve. And that's not a knock to anybody that has done the role previously. Like in the same way that, like, I wouldn't knock Ben Affleck for saying that, Robert Pattinson is the Batman I rock with the most since, Bale. I think that he embodied what both Clark and Superman are. I get really tired of people already being like, "He too goofy, he too dumb." No, he's clearly not. If he put the entirety of the Fortress of Solitude together, he found a way to understand his own technology. If he's out here doing the journalism that he's doing, he's been able to keep up his perceptions. He's putting on an act, but he's also a Kansas boy. So he would have a little bit of the golly shucks, like, damn, you got a point. Like that is who he is. He is not always just, "I am Superman." Like that again, you're letting the Snyder stuff seep into your brain. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that per se, but he is multifaceted. And in the same way that you see Jackie Chan half the time in his movies, "I don't want trouble." Like he doesn't, but then he will whoop your ass and is a solid detective in whatever movie he's in. It is both a level of humility, but also, what should he say in Rush Hour? We're talking about, see, I like people that like to talk, because then I'd like to let them watch them talk so that I can find out how full of shit they really are. Superman is assessing everybody all the time. Mm-hmm. He is more Batman than you realize. It's just Batman is Batman, and Superman is like Batman light when it comes to that kind of stuff. But he's no slouch. He is a smart dude, and pretending to be a goof is, like, I make the argument that Goofy, the character from Disney, that nigga smart too. He just clumsy. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he went back to college, no problem, was getting bitches while he was with his son at college, and became a professional X Games skater, knew a perfect fisherman, learned a very complex pop star dance in a split second based off of another skill that he had. Come on now. Genius. He just comes off as not.
He created new choreography for the pop star to learn right then and there.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think people forget that our quintessential Superman was goofy as hell. And you could clearly see that Gunn and Corenswet wanted to pay homage to Christopher Reeve. Shout out to the Will Reeve cameo in there as a reporter.
Yes,
that was
sir.
really cool. But he wasn't Chris. He was his own, but it definitely had, like, I know who our Superman is. That, for me, in general, overall, my thoughts are going to that. That is what made me, despite the flaws, I will say this really quick. I will say the one emotional beat that really was like, I wanted more. I love Pruitt Taylor Vince, and I wanted that scene with him in Pocket to have a little bit more impact, a little bit more stakes.
I teared up in that scene. I'm not even gonna lie.
I needed a little bit more. But the fact that it was like, we are clearly paying homage to the wholesomeness, the heart on the sleeve, the hope is everything that we need of Christopher Reeve, and then bringing it to modern day. even with all the flaws, everything we talked about, that's why I came out of the film like I really, really enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, go ahead, Shaq.
No, just even like the final shot of like, first off, did y'all know that like I don't pay attention to like the rumor mill when it was coming out to like Superman, but like did y'all know in advance that Bradley Cooper was in it?
No,
it came out in like the last month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, because I ignored all that. So when he showed up, I was like, what the fuck? And
Same.
then even with his whole like Kryptonian parents, that twist of like, yeah, we're wanting you to conquer. I was thinking like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh, they're gonna try and backtrack and find some way to even go.
Same.
Like, no matter how many times you're like, they can't fake this. I'm still thinking he found a way to fake it.
And then
that would be a Luther thing to do.
Like when Luther's like, it's not fake. I could have been like that was the moment.
I was like, this is like the Telltale Batman game when they were like establishing that like the Waynes are like part of a criminal empire. I was like, oh, that's an interesting twist on this origin.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, someone was. Go ahead.
Before the final shot of like his reflection on his parents being like Ma and Pa Kent, that got to me.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's
for
beautiful.
Sure.
No, I think I also hope that we circle back around to the idea of because I think that was the takeaway was it's less about the message and more about what you take away from it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so you only got the first half of the message for a majority of the part, but it's about what you take from it. So there have been stories told before where Jor-El isn't as kindly as he is always put on, one way or the other. But there's also a world, because remember Brainiac being of Kryptonian origin, that to humans the message was unaltered, but that maybe Brainiac already seeing an opportunity to kind of take advantage here could have altered it. That's also a possibility we could see down the line.
Especially if you have the engineer digging in that system and surviving.
Right.
So,
I mean that's a little. I don't necessarily want to go that route because then you're kind of undoing something.
I agree,
and it cuts it down. But there's always a possibility that you can make the alterations. But again, it's happened before that Jor-El is not as altruistic as put on.
All
and
I need
again,
to say is it sounds like you would love Smallville. I'm just putting that out there.
Right? That's fair. But I think that the cool thing about it is I don't think we would have been able to receive this Superman when Man of Steel came out. If I'm being honest, I think we were in our kind of like emo teenage era and kind of needed that tone a little bit one way or the other. I think we really need it now, and we're in more of a place to accept it because the world as a whole is not in the best place. Unless you're a very particular type of straight white Roman saluting type of white man, you're not loving the state of the world. Most people are like, things are bad. And so I think having somebody that in the face of everything crumbling can stand for morality, and that is why we watch a Superman or even a Captain America, is to try and use that as a rubric of where we should try and aim. I think that's why this movie will do well, and I think people will love it, and because crypto, so there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say that you talk about crypto. Crypto's why my 10-year-old godson wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
He came out. I couldn't get him to shut up during the movie because he was loving it so much. I'd be like, kept going, shh, bro, quiet. People are watching the movie. He's like, this is like, shh, quiet. People are watching the damn movie. And he was living for it.
You know what's crazy? At my screening, there was a woman who brought a dog in the theater, brought a fucking chihuahua in the theater. I was like, how the fuck did you sneak that in? And I was so scared that dog was going to act up. That dog was focused. That dog didn't say shit. Even when Crypto was up, he's like, nah, I'm cool. I'm watching my brother out of here.
I'd be worried that dog would see the other dog and be like, hey, what you doing over there, bro? That's my nigga. Yeah. What's a chihuahua have that deep ass like,
but no, I unabashedly love this film. It's probably my second favorite iteration of the character of Clark Kent and Superman. I wish we got a little bit more Clark. But the moment I do like Shaq touched on it earlier, how he talked with Clark, like when he's like, "Oh, there's no quality on good journalism.
I talked to Superman the other day. You know, he didn't lose.
He was telling me about how he thought the Hammer Brigade, like, and then you see him more calm when he's just with. I was like, damn, people aren't going to catch up on, like, but granted, that's also me 3 viewings in.
Yeah.
I was just like,
he hit that mislaid, and you're like, oh shit.
But no, I do want to bring this up because it's something a lot of people are talking about. I got to give a shout out to my boy Kolb out here. Last night when general public finally started seeing it, he left the theater. First thing he tweeted, I don't know if Shaq saw me retweet this, is I just got out of Superman. I got one thing to say. Marvel might be in trouble going forward.
If they don't get their act together.
Yeah.
It depends on 2 things. It depends on how Fantastic Four goes. And then it depends because our very next thing is, if I remember correctly, is Doomsday.
So okay, I'm going both timelines. So you would get supposedly Lanterns and Supergirl even before we get Doomsday.
Oh, I mean, okay, if you want to play those games, then we still have Wonder Man. We still, like, you know what I mean? There's other stuff, but I'm saying specifically just from the Marvel timeline.
Yeah.
They have Fantastic Four, so now it really can't miss, which, I finished my script yesterday. I'm very excited. I wanted to give Superman time to breathe, but I'm very excited about what I actually think I know how the Fantastic Four movie is going to go. So I've got a full video that I'm gonna put out about that. It's pretty funny. I finally decided I'm just taking my muzzle off. So yeah. But all that being said, yeah, it's gonna they can't miss with this right now. They need Fantastic Four to hit.
So Shaq, I know you and I have talked about this, and Winston, I know Christian's talking about this. When screenings are like a day or 2 before the movie comes out,
yes,
that's when it's.
So that's a bad sign.
So like
bad sign.
Out here, the critics' Cleveland screening for Fantastic Four is Wednesday, July 23rd.
Oh Jesus!
When does Fantastic Four come out?
25th. Oh boy.
Which means technically it comes out on what day?
What?
If the movie comes
out the Thursday night.
Yeah, the Thursday night. It's on the 24th.
Exactly.
Hey, yeah. When it comes to Marvel and DC and superhero movies, I'm gonna be cornbread from Sinners. Let's focus on what we need to do. We kind of want to know. I'm wanting all of it to do well. I love.
You could at least give me my money.
Yes.
Exactly. I like Thunderbolts. I like this. I'm hoping both of them just keep doing well, and that's where I'm at with this stuff.
I don't want to hate the MCU. I really, really don't. Like, I was talking about like how this was one of my favorite franchises. Like, by the time Endgame came out, like this was so meaningful to me, and how they've been spotty at best since then has been frustrating. And even like I thought Thunderbolts was okay, and Fantastic Four, even that I don't have that high. Like the cast is great, but I don't have that high hopes because one, they fucked it up 3 times, well, 4 times really already. Like we haven't gotten a good Fantastic Four movie, or at least a great one. And I don't know if this will be the one to do it.
Watch my video. If I'm spot on about this when I drop this motherfucker, bro. First of all, people are gonna be like, "Did you steal the script?" I have a feeling that like they're like. But secondly, if they go this route that I'm theorizing about, we'll be just fine. But it just depends. It depends.
I'm keeping a degree of optimism because I like everybody in the cast and everything. But it's still like how bad Phase 5 was as a whole. I'm stressed.
I get it. That's the thing. It's really hard sometimes. Last little analogy, and then I got to run. I don't know how many people are like old school Tiger Woods fans, but like for a lot of cases when he would drive, let's say he can knock the ball 400 yards, but he's trying to get it up to 425. You actually have to break your shot back down, and you actually get worse. And then once you learn your new form, then you end up going beyond what you were doing. So I think that's the same thing that's been going on with Marvel. Once they finally were like, no, this isn't working. We really need to, you kind of had to get worse for a little bit before you could get better. Quality wise, Thunderbolts was the first one under Iger, and it already feels better. However, it's just going to take time. So as long as they do it with Fantastic Four and then they keep up that consistency, we'll be good to go.
Yeah. But
My only other thing is the Doomsday. They're like, yeah, we're filming and we still don't have a third act.
Yeah, that's scary. Anyways, with that, folks, that was this episode of
Superman.
Of a bigger bite. Winston, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blerd on all platforms. I've been streaming Mondays and Wednesdays on my YouTube, youtube.com/theswaggyblerd and twitch.tv/theswaggyblerd. You can also see me on Tuesdays with Roca for Spill the Tequila over on the John Roca channel. You can see me on Fridays over on the Christian Holliff channel with Koi Jeanjou as well, doing Capes and Cowls. And
aren't you doing Monday capes this week? Because I know Christian was talking.
No, Roca will be doing the spoiler talk with him, and then Koi, myself, and Christian will do more spoiler talk next Friday.
Okay.
We're obviously not going to ruin it today.
Right. I know Christian was talking about reversing the week, or you're too.
Right. Not this time though. If he did, he didn't tell anybody, so we're not going to do that. But yeah. All that being said, you can find me on all those places.
Shaq, where can the good people find you?
Find me everywhere on all social media. Shak Excellence. That's SHAK Excellence. That's, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, Letterboxd, all that shit. And you can find my writing, my reviews over at CG Magazine. So it's cgmagonline.com.
And of course, you can find Drew over here on Bite Size Breakdown and his other podcast he's doing currently on Drew. What channel is that?
Like 500 Takes, top 100 hip hop videos of all time. Go check it out.
There we go. And you can find me over at my personal YouTube, which is What Real Entertainment, and of course here hosting A Bigger Bite. But with that, folks, signing off, standing for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. We'll see you next time.
Peace.